It was an ordinary morning at the bustling train station. Vendors shouted their prices, the sound of engines echoed, and passengers rushed past. Amid this chaos sat a man on the ground, his back against a cold concrete pillar. His clothes were worn, his face roughened by time, and beside him lay a rusty tin cup containing only a few coins. His name was Rafik. For years, this corner had been his world. Every day, he asked for spare change, hoping to gather enough to buy a meal. Rafik's life had shrunk into a single question: can you spare some change? Some gave him a coin, some ignored him, and some looked at him with pity. It wasn't that he didn't dream, he often imagined a better life. But dreams are hard to hold when your stomach is empty and your pockets are bare. One day, a well-dressed man stopped in front of him. He was clearly different from the rest of the crowd. He looked at Rafik's tin cup, then at Rafik himself, and asked something no one had ever said before. If you cannot give, how can you keep asking to receive? Rafik was startled. Give? He was the one in need. He had nothing to offer. He thought the man was mocking him. But the stranger's eyes were calm, even kind. Listen, the man said, crouching to meet his gaze. Life is like a mirror. It reflects what you show it. If you give something, even a smile, you'll see things change. Try giving before asking. With that, he placed a small bouquet of fresh flowers on the ground next to Rafik and walked away. At first, Rafik stared at the flowers, confused. What would I do with these? He couldn't eat them. He couldn't sell them without a license. But something about the man's words stayed with him. That evening, when a passerby dropped a coin, Rafik picked up a flower and handed it over. The woman stopped, surprised, then smiled widely. She thanked him and left with the flower in her hand. The next morning, Rafik decided to try something new. He took a few rupees, bought a handful of marigolds from a nearby market, and arranged them neatly on an old piece of cloth. Whenever someone dropped a coin, he didn't just say, "Thank you," he gave them a flower. Soon, people began noticing him. His corner didn't look sad anymore, it looked bright, cheerful. Within weeks, something extraordinary happened. The same people who once ignored him started seeking him out. Some even paid without taking a flower, saying, "Keep it, you're doing something nice." Children loved picking out blooms. Office workers started buying a flower to keep on their desks. Rafik was no longer just a beggar, he was providing something of value. His mindset began to shift. I am not asking anymore. I am giving. The small change he earned turned into a steady flow of coins and notes. Soon, he was able to buy larger quantities, better flowers, even a wooden crate to display them. He stopped sitting on the ground. He stood. His clothes improved. His smile became genuine. People started recognizing him not as the beggar, but as the flower seller at the station. Months passed. Rafik's little business grew. He saved enough to rent a tiny cart. From there, he began supplying flowers for small events, weddings, and religious ceremonies. His hands, once outstretched in desperation, were now busy tying bouquets. But the real change wasn't in his pocket, it was in his heart. That single question, "If you cannot give, how can you keep asking?" had unlocked a door inside him. He understood something most people overlook: true wealth comes from adding value to others. Even the smallest gift, a flower, a kind word, a gesture, can turn strangers into supporters and scarcity into abundance. Years later, Rafik stood outside a wholesale flower market, overseeing his own small shop. His cart had multiplied into 3. He employed 2 young boys who, like him once, needed a chance. When asked about his success, he smiled and said, "I used to think life owed me something. But the day I started giving, life started giving back more than I ever imagined." This story is more than a tale about flowers, it's about perspective. Change doesn't always need huge resources or perfect timing. It often starts with a single shift, a willingness to give when you think you have nothing. Energy attracts energy. Generosity attracts generosity. And sometimes, the first gift is as simple as a flower.